And now, here is your pandemic news report.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pandemic News Report, where we report on pathogens, viruses, bacterium, and all related pandemic news information in between. And today we're going to take a look at the vaccines. And many vaccines today are linked to aborted fetal cell lines. All right? We're going to give you the breakdown today. We're going to give you the breakdown. So, most of today's vaccines are developed with aborted fetal cell lines. And here's a full list. We're going to get into it, all right? Excuse me. The abortion industry, the organ harvesting industry, and the vaccine industry work together. Their operations go hand in hand. The current supply of vaccines for children and adults is based on a history brutally toward the unborn. In order to develop vaccines, human fetuses must be strategically picked apart, their organs harvested, the cell lines reproduced for vaccine manufacture. There are 6 main types of cell lines used to develop biological or biologics vaccines. 4 of these cell lines involve the sacrificial use of aborted fetal cells. The list of vaccines that exploit fetal cell lines in the manufacturing process is exhaustive. These aborted fetal cell lines include the WI38 diploid human cell line, which is composed of fibroblasts taken from the lung tissue of a 3-month gestation female fetus. All right, so this might be one of those things that breaks the internet, and we'll let you know now. We'll try to make it available on different platforms because, as you know, if you speak about certain things, they don't want you to know the information, so they will flat out come up with excuses to their policy and use that excuse for a reason to delete the video, or they'll do a heavy shadow ban where they'll make it hard for you to find this information. But rest assured, we will be available somewhere for you to get this information. All right. So whether that's YouTube, we're on YouTube, Facebook, we're going to be on Twitch, Twitter. I believe we're on Fanbase. We're also going to start being available for Spotify. I believe they allow for video podcasts now, as well as the original audio. So be sure to check out those places if you can't find it where you're normally taking in content. All right. So now let's get into this, right? So again, fibroblasts taken from the lung tissue of a 3-month gestation female fetus. All right. Vaccines also utilize the HEK 293 cell line. I'm telling you these things so you can look these things up. So let's go back real quick. These aborted fetal cell lines include the WI, it's either WI or WL-38 diploid human cell line, which is composed of fibroblasts taken from the lung tissue of a 3-month gestation female fetus. All right, so just imagine a 3-month fetus. they're taking this from. So that's what's in your vaccines, or that's the possibility of what could be in your vaccines. All right. Vaccines also utilize the HEK dash 293 cell line, which is which is isolated from the kidney of a human embryo. All right. Third, vaccines contain the MRC5, that's MRC-5 diploid cell line, which consists of fibroblasts isolated from the lung tissue of a white male, 14-week-old embryo. Finally, vaccines are derived from the RA27/3 cell lines, which have been taken from attenuated fetal kidney cells since 1964. Now, before we go a little deeper, I'm just going to say notice how there's a push for making it people comfortable with having abortions, right? But they changed the wording around. But notice how that's being heavily promoted. And then yet we're telling you and talking to you here about the different types of cell lines they are pulling from embryos. Do you see the connection now, what I'm saying? All right. I'm just going to leave it right there. So here is the full list of vaccines that contain the I think it's either WI or WL-38 cell line. All right. So number 1, MMR type, live attenuated. The components are measles, mumps, and rubella. MMR, measles, mumps, rubella. All right, number 2, MMR Pro Quad. The type is live attenuated. Components, measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella. Okay. Number 3, varicella, or also Varivax. The type is live attenuated. Components, varicella zoster virus, also known as chickenpox. Okay. These are the vaccines that I'm telling you that contain the W1, either WL or WI or W1-38 cell line. All right. And we told you that it's aborted fetal cell lines include that WI-38 diploid human cell line. Okay. So play this back and write these things down. So we're on number 4 now. Number 4 is zoster or Zostavax. The type is live attenuated, and the components of it is varicella zoster virus or shingles. Okay. Number 5 is hepatitis A, or also known as Havrix. The type is inactivated. Notice I was saying for the first 4 is live attenuated for the type, but this hepatitis is the type of the hepatitis inactivated. The components of it is hepatitis A virus. Number 6, hepatitis A or Vacta. The type is inactivated and the components is hepatitis A virus. All right. Number 7, rabies. Okay. Rabies or Imbervax or Imovax. The type is inactivated and the components rabies virus. All right. Number 9, Pentacell. Pentacel. The type is combination of inactivated and toxoid. All right. Inactivated and toxoid. The components is diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, or DTaP, polio, and HIV, HIB. All right. Number 10, Kinrix. Kinrix, Kinrix. You guys see it on the screen. The type is a combination of inactivated and toxoid. Okay. The components is diphtheria and tetanus pertussis, or DTaP, and polio. So it's 4 of them. It's diphtheria, that's the components of Kinrix. Diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, also known as DTaP, and polio. All right. I'm spelling some of these out for you guys who might be listening to this and not watching us on video. All right. So number 11 for this particular cell line, the WI38 cell line, the number 11 is ProQuad, which is MMRV. All right. The type is live attenuated, and the components from the MMRV, which stands for measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella. All right. Now we're going to get into the full list of vaccines that contain the HEK 293 cell line. All right. Number 1, COVID-19 vaccines with an S at the end. Vaccines. All right. We're going to look into this. It's Comirnaty. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, or Comirnaty, which is the Pfizer BioNTech mRNA vaccine. All right. Spikevax, Moderna mRNA vaccine. Vaxzevria, VAXZEVRIA, AstraZeneca / Oxford viral vector vaccine. And under the COVID-19 vaccines, number 1, we still on number 1, is Johnson & Johnson's Janssen COVID-19 vaccine, which has the viral vector vaccine. All right. Now, number 2, we're going to go a little bit faster here. Number 2 is shingles, or Shingrix. The type is recombinant, and the components is recombinant varicella zoster virus, aka shingles. Number 3, hepatitis A, or Havrix, and this is all under the HEK 293 cell line. All right, do your research on this stuff, and you see it on the screen, and you can always play this video back. All right, number 3, hepatitis A is Havrix. The type, inactivated. The components, hepatitis A virus. Number 4, hepatitis A, Vacta. The type is inactivated, and the components, hepatitis A virus. Number 5, rabies, or Rabivert. The type is inactivated. The components, rabies virus. Number 6, rabies Imavax. I guess rabies Rabivert and rabies Imavax, 2 different things. All right, so the type is inactivated, and the components is rabies virus. And then you have the human papillomavirus vaccine, which is HPV. Gardasil 9 and recombinant HPV vaccine. That's number 7. Number 8, hepatitis B, or Heplisov B. The type is recombinant. The components, hepatitis B virus surface antigen. All right. And that's the full list of vaccines that contain the HEK 293 cell line. All right. So now we're going to go into the full list of vaccines that contain the MRC-5 cell line. All right. Number 1 is MMR vaccine, measles, mumps, rubella. Examples, MMR2 by Merck, and Priorix by GlaxoSmithKline. All right. Number 2, varicella vaccine, chickenpox. Examples: Veravax by Merck, that's the company, I believe. Proquad is Merck, which combines the MMR and varicella. Number 3 is hepatitis A vaccine. Examples is Havrix by GlaxoSmithKline and Vacta by Merck. Number 4, the rabies vaccine. Examples: Rabivert by Pfizer and Imavax rabies by Sanofi Pasteur. Okay. Number 5 is the polio vaccine. Inactivated polio vaccine, or IPV. Some IPV vaccines, like those produced by various manufacturers, might use MRC5 cells in some production processes, though often vero cells are used. Okay. Number 6, the shingles vaccine, herpes zoster. Examples is Zostavax, Merck for older vaccines, Shingrix, GlaxoSmithKline. GlaxoSmithKline is a company. Merck is a company. Pfizer is a company. I believe Sanofi Pasteur is a company. So I'm just kind of giving you some information here. So we're on back to number 6. Shingrix GlaxoSmithKline, primarily produced using insect cells, but initial strains may involve MRC5. Okay. Number 7 is some vaccines for cancer treatment. Examples: certain experimental cancer vaccines and treatments might use MRC cells. All right. So number 8 is certain influenza vaccines. Some influenza vaccines might use MRC5 cells in their production, though this varies widely by manufacturer and formulation. Now remember, before I go on, that's the end of this list here with the MRC cell line. And remember, at the beginning I told you, pretty much at the beginning, that you got the abortion industry. I just mentioned a little while ago how they're trying to make that a big thing now, right? I'm not going to say who's doing it, who's pushing it. You guys know, if you've been paying attention, what's been going on. So the abortion industry, the organ harvesting industry, and the vaccine industry go hand in hand, working together. All right. The current supply of vaccines for children and adults is based on a history of brutality toward the unborn. All right. In order to develop vaccines, human fetuses must be strategically picked apart, their organs harvested, the cell lines reproduced for vaccine manufacture. All right. So that's why I've been reading these lists of cell lines. They're based off of human fetuses that are strategically picked apart, and those organs of those fetuses harvested, the cell lines in those fetuses reproduced for vaccine manufacture. So it almost sounds as if, for those who go through those processes to not have a child, then they are now making money off of your child that you decided you did not want to have put on this earth. All right. I'm telling you, this is a deep one, and we don't know where this video is going to get banned, if it gets banned, or if they stand on business and truth and leave the information staying and remaining on social media platforms and other platforms. Okay. This is real deep. So now we have a full list of vaccines that contain the RA273 cell line. All right. And it looks like it's only 3 of them. So number 1, the MMR vaccine, which is measles, mumps, and rubella. You have the MMR2 by Merck and Priorix, GlaxoSmithKline. Those are the companies, all right? Might be exposed to some things today. Number 2, the MMRV vaccine, which is measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella. MMRV, measles, mumps, rubella, varicella. And you have Proquad by the company Merck. All right. Number 3 is single antigen rubella vaccine. Is Merovax 2 by Merck. And then MMR, single antigen, various brands in different countries. Okay. The current vaccine supply is fundamentally tainted with the blood of slain human beings. Products that are developed with morally controversial procedures should be re-evaluated and considered both unethical and unscientific. While these vaccine products remain on the market, a growing number of families are rejecting them based on religious grounds and are invoking religious exemptions to vaccination for school, work, and travel. All right. So if you want to check out the sources, we have that on the screen too. Openvaers.com. All right. And then you have the openvaers.com PDF. And then you have nvic.org. All right. Look up those sources. It's where this information derives from. All right. Regarding this article from Vaccine News. Okay. So the vaccines that you guys are taking are most likely being developed with aborted fetal cell lines. Okay. Aborted children. So they're taking the cell lines. All right. They're taking the fetuses. They're strategically picking them apart. The organs of these fetuses, as tiny as they would be on fetuses' bodies inside, they're harvesting them. The cell lines are then from those, I guess those organs are being reproduced to manufacture vaccines. All right. Something for you guys to think about, man. Something for you to think about. Okay. So we appreciate y'all for coming in, checking this out. Like I said, this is definitely a deep one. And yeah, keep watching us, man. We're going to keep bringing it to you guys. Bring you the information, and then you can do your critical thinking. All right. This is the Pandemic News Report. And you guys have a good day. Peace.
And now, here is your Pandemic News Report.